The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
OTAs get underway this week. Can Frank Reich find the best ways to utilize his two new rookie pass catchers, Kenyon Sadiq and Omar Cooper Jr.? We'll talk about that, plus more on the Knicks, who are headed to the NBA Finals. And do I see some Brendan Sorsby news? We'll get to all that and more. Joe Blewett joins me. It's the Jake Asman Show. Let's hit it and get it started.
We sitting here, we excited as hell.
Now it's time to get to work. Are you a happy guy?
Oh my goodness, let's go!
I haven't felt joy talking about the Jets in a long time. When they announced it, I went, yeah! Jets, let's go! A new chapter for the Jets has started. Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji are tasked with shaping the future of this franchise. Will they be the ones to finally get it right? We will be here for every step of the journey on the Jake Asman Show, breaking down all the storylines, every game, and everything in between. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chats, baby. Cut the line. The Jake Asman Show starts right now.
Here we go, Jet fans and Knick fans. Welcome in, everybody. It is indeed the Jake Asman Show presented by PrizePicks. Click the thumbs up button and make sure, if you haven't already, you subscribe to the channel. Go New York, go New York, go. We're going to raffle away a signed Walt Clyde Frazier jersey at the end of this very show. So make sure you enter the raffle by becoming a channel member, gifting a membership, or sending in a $10 super chat or higher to qualify. A lot to talk about, not just with the Jets, but apparently in the college football world. And we say hello to our guy, Joe Blewett from JetX. Joe, before we even do any sort of film review, I want to hit the breaking news right away. This just came out as the intro for our show was playing. Pete Thamel reporting that the NCAA has denied Texas Tech QB Brendan Sorsby's request for reinstatement for eligibility for the upcoming college football season. Sorsby completed his 35-day inpatient rehab for his gambling addiction, and the NCAA said, you're not playing football. So you wonder, does this now mean Brendan Sorsby will declare for the NFL supplemental draft, which means a future Joe Blewett film review on Brendan Sorsby could be in order?
A future Robbie Sabo Brandon Sorsby review is in order. No, yeah, I'll obviously do it if it happens. But this is kind of the expected result, right? I don't think any of us thought that he was going to be eligible for the next collegiate season. So most likely he's going to enter the supplemental draft. And do the Jets throw in a pick? Obviously, it's a big question. I've heard some people talk about as high as a second-round pick. I think that's a little bit crazy. To me, about a fourth-round pick is where it starts to be like acceptable for me, just because of the timeline. But it's very interesting because he has a ton of tools, but he's lacking a little bit in terms of playing the bigger competition, lacking mentally. So he's a guy who needs development, and does that fit the Jets' timeline? You know, if he's developing this entire year, you know, what does he have to do in 2026 to not make the Jets draft a quarterback in 2027? So most likely you do. And then the depth chart is, let's just say it's Arch Manning at pick 4 or 5, Sorsby and Klubnik, you know, so it's kind of a crowded room. So it's definitely an interesting decision. I think it'd be a little bit easier of a decision if Klubnik was not on the team and it was just like Russell Wilson or something like that. But definitely interesting to see what happens. But I'd anticipate, obviously, him entering the draft, really, because at this point, what else does he do? He either enters the draft or like goes and plays for like the CFL or something like that, right? There's really no other options.
And I mean, look, if he enters the draft, someone will take a chance on him. He was owed, I think I saw $6 or $7 million in the NIL. He won't quite get that on a rookie contract, but at least he's getting something because he can't play college football anymore. I mean, I'm not surprised it was denied, right? You nailed it. This was the expected result. He literally gambled on his own team when he was at Indiana. Again, he gambled on his own team. It's like the cardinal sin of what you can't do when you're a collegiate athlete. Like the grounds call for automatic ineligibility. Like there's really no like wiggle room there. It's pretty cut and dry in the NCAA rule book. So I'm not surprised. I think the question is, if he does declare for the supplemental draft, one, when is it? And two, how many teams would be interested in a guy like Brendan Sorsby? Is his tape good enough to warrant a second, a third, a fourth? I really don't know. I've heard people speculate from all over on this guy, and we're going to get an idea, it sounds like, in the coming weeks.
Yeah. I'll watch his last season. It seems like if he were to enter the draft this past season, he would have been like a low second, high third. Like that seems like to be his range. So then obviously is a suspension coming at the NFL level. You have to factor that in. You have to factor in the problem in general, because like you said, he got caught gambling on his own team. It's not just like he's gambling on other sports, but then you have to take into account, like, if he gets caught again, is it a full season suspension for him? Like, that's something else you have to consider. So again, a fourth is where I'm willing to start the conversation, but I don't know if I would do that. So I'm much more out on it than other Jets fans are, seemingly, just because of the timeline, the risk, the development needed, all that stuff. But he's an intriguing prospect because he has a cannon. He's a big dude. He's like 6'3", 6'4". I think he's like pushing 240. So he definitely has all the athletic traits that you want. But this is going to be a pivotal year for him, obviously stepping up in competition to really prove himself. And a lot of people kind of automatically assume the most positive outcome of what his 2026 season could have been. Like, oh, yeah, he's a second round pick, but he could have been a first round pick next year, or he could have been like Klubnik or Nussmeier and been like a second or third round pick and then drop to, a fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh round pick or whatever it may have been. So I think to give up a second or a third would be pretty risky for a player like Sorsby, especially everything being considered as well. But we'll see. I think it's typically in like June or July. Obviously, it's in June or July now. Like, no crap, June is like 5 days away. But I think it's typically been in July, right? So
we do it next week. I got 9 days to kill before the Knicks play Game 1 of the NBA Finals.
Don't get greedy, all right?
Can I make a request? The Knicks kick so much ass, Joe Boy, and I need something to do the next 9 days.
Really? I haven't heard. I haven't been following the Knicks news. I have no idea what's going on right now. I guess they're doing well.
Mr. Brooklyn Net fan, Joe Blewett. I did bring you up to Sabo this morning on the show. I go, Joe told me if the Knicks play the Thunder, he's actually going to root for the Knicks because he can't stand the Thunder that much.
Yeah, it's not even like it's just for basketball's future. I can't root for the Thunder because then people start following suit with that way of playing. And basketball is kind of a little bit already unwatchable to me. So if it just continues to go down this path, I'm rooting for basketball, not for the Knicks. I said to you pre-show, it's kind of very like Chiefs, Eagles-esque Super Bowl, Giants, Pats to me. I can't really root either way, but gun to my head, even as a Nets fan, which sounds crazy, I'm like 51% Knicks just because I hate everything about the Thunder, the way they speak, the way they play the game. So I'm not going to say go New York, go New York, go. Here comes the drop, but we'll see. I guess 51% Knicks.
You don't have to. I'll let King Lowski do it.
Yes! Let's go Knicks! This our year, baby! Win the chip!
Yeah.
I felt that happy. Week 16? It was week 16, beating the Pats at home, Eric Decker catching the end zone, to only be really, really disappointed a week later. So I have not felt like that in quite a bit. Getting Rodgers tearing the Achilles, flying to Dallas just a few hours after. So I wish I could enjoy or have that level of excitement like Lowski one day. But not this year, obviously, and not next year, the next year for the Nets.
Look, from a Jet standpoint, though, if the Knicks can get there, figured out, so can the New York Jets. It provides hope for all because the Knicks, for many, many years, were considered the worst franchise in sports.
Yeah, no doubt. Like the Knicks did, right? I know that Dolan was typically involved, right? They hired was it Leon Rose? Is that his name?
Leon Rose.
And then they kind of just let him do his own thing, and that's been working out. So maybe Woody Johnson, maybe with Muji, he proves that he knows what he's doing, and we can follow a similar path to just who is the Brunson of this team, and obviously that's going to be the quarterback. So can we find that Brunson? Maybe not in free agency, but in the draft.
It's probably a quarterback, and maybe it's Brendan Sorsby. Hey, who knows? Dana writes in, what's the point of using any capital on Sorsby with Kate Klubnik on the roster and a QB pick coming in 27? Bad capital management, if so. Well, a couple of things on this, Dana. We don't know how the Jets truly feel about Klubnik. We know they like him, but they took him in the 4th round. If they have a higher grade on Sorsby, it's the most important position in sports. You could never – it's almost like starting pitching in baseball. You can never have enough. Like, if you don't have a long-term answer at quarterback, you should keep taking swings until you get a guy at that position if you believe Sorsby could be that dude. The reality is, though, I don't think the Jets would necessarily do it because his coaching staff is not guaranteed to be here beyond this year. I think Darren Muji understands he positioned the franchise with 3 wins next year. Let's see the year play out, see if Geno can provide some stability to properly evaluate Aaron Glenn. Maybe you see Cade Klubnik at some point, and you go from there. I don't think a team like the Jets would be in on Brendan Sorsby unless it's maybe like a 4th-round pick, and they're just, hey, why not? But maybe a team that's like the Steelers, who aren't ever bad enough to get one of the top quarterbacks, maybe they'd be more willing to use a number 2 because they're like, look, this guy's going to be a first-rounder a year from now. We won't be able to get him. Let's see if we can take a chance and get him early, that kind of thing. So that type of team makes more sense than the Jets, who have clearly sold Woody Johnson on a plan where they build the team up this year and then get the ultimate prize, the big swing, I believe, in the draft in 2027 at that position.
Yeah, I think it's well said. I don't really think you need to add, or I don't need to add much more onto that. It's just that the timelines don't match up. The suspension, the question of what he is, he's not like a locked 1st-round pick. If it was something like that, then yeah, maybe you throw a draft pick for it. But again, he could be just as bad of a prospect as Klubnik coming out this year. So there's a lot of risk there. They need that young quarterback next year, most likely. You already have Klubnik. I agree with you. I see a team as like a vet quarterback, maybe an aging vet quarterback who doesn't really have a legitimate backup option doing this. I don't see the Jets offering anything higher than, again, even a 4th-round pick might be a little bit too high. I'm almost leaning to a 5th-round pick. I really do think it's almost a waste because you can't really see what he is, and he needs to develop quite a bit. So there's no way you're going to see him this year, even if you didn't have Klubnik. So I just do not see it happening.
I don't think they're going to do it, but I'm curious after you watch him, if he does end up going to the supplemental, Joe, if your opinion will change at all to give him a chance.
I will be I will be painfully honest about my opinion on him when we come in here and do a review, most likely.
Damn right. Hit the like button, everyone. Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. We're giving away a Walt Clyde Frazier autographed jersey today on the show. When you enter, you'll also have a chance to win one of our 3 weekly prizes: a signed Darrelle Revis end zone pylon, a signed Joe Klecko helmet, and guess what, Knick fans? How about another chance to win a Clyde jersey later in the week? All right, we're upgrading our Knick-related prizes in honor of the Knicks reaching their first NBA Finals since 1999. Yes, that is a real stat. It is crazy. That's how long it has been. All right, Joe. So for today's film review, we're going to break down Kenyon Sadiq and Omar Cooper Jr., but specifically go through some plays on how we can envision them being used in the Jet offense with Frank Reich calling the plays and Geno Smith throwing the ball. So you put together some plays, you could kind of show their strengths, their weaknesses, and kind of how you see it fitting with what the Jets are going to try and do offensively. And we'll get our first look at this offense later this week with OTAs opening up tomorrow and the first one for the media to attend on Thursday. So whenever you're ready, we'll break down the film. We're going to do Kenyon Sadiq first. And before you pull up the first play, I just want to remind everyone out there something very important about Sadiq. He's a certified freak.
I was obsessed with Sadiq, certified freak, 7 days a week, certified freak. Obsessed with Sadiq, certified freak, 7 days a week, certified. Obsessed with Sadiq, 7 days a week.
7 days a week.
Certified freak.
Now that we've established that, Mr. Joe Blewett, whenever you're ready, the first Kenyon Sadiq play, and let's break down how he will fit the Frank Reich offense.
Yeah, so we did a review of both of these guys, so you can always go back and watch more. All of these clips are from the second watch that the second time watching him. So I watched Montana State, Oklahoma State, Northwestern, Rutgers, Wisconsin, Washington, and James Madison to pull these clips. And again, go back to the first review for a little bit more of Sadiq. So yeah, I said like a random, kind of mashup of plays, just of some of the positives and the weaknesses, and we can go over those as well at the end, and then also talk about some of the fit in the offense. So nothing crazy long today with these reviews, but this one on the bottom, this one's a very simple one. He runs like a quick hitch to the bottom right here, split out wide, and you're going to see like an unnatural ability to accelerate and speed, which eliminates the angle. I believe it's from the safety high here. I think you can see I think you guys can see the cursor. But really, this is just about pure athleticism here. Like there's no technique here. There's nothing about it. There's really not a lot of nuance to this play. It's just about how much of a freak he is in terms of the acceleration, like post stiff arming that defensive back, safety, whatever it is. How he takes off right there is just, it's kind of unnatural. And you see some of the freak testing numbers in that 4.39 40 speed, 43.5-inch vert, 11'1" broad. But it's specifically once he separates from this corner, the acceleration right there looks almost like a Madden glitch, kind of like it doesn't look real to me. I've watched thousands of plays, and you don't really see that type of acceleration from a guy who's 240 pounds. And I'm sure the safety thinks he's taking a good angle to the ball right here, but Sadiq can eliminate those angles. So I didn't see a ton from him in terms of yak at Oregon. I want to see him a little bit more or do a little bit more with the ball in his hands. So I think he has to develop his yak in some ways, but overall, he has obviously the ability to just the natural ability to accelerate. He's rocked up, right? He has good contact balance. He's a good athlete. So starting off with that, just seeing, him in a yak situation here. And sorry if you can hear my dog. I just text my wife, please get the fucking dog. So I'm sorry if you can hear him, but he's a yappy little biznatch sometimes. So okay, that's actually let me see. Okay, so next play of Sadiq, let's see, effort. This is a way you could see him being used with the Jets. If you can't find him in this play, I cannot help you. They fake, I believe it's a counter or a power to the left, and he kind of works over here like they're running a counter OH, and then he pivots out of here, and then is just blocking anything in the alley right here, and you're going to see him attach himself to a defensive back and then pancake him at the end of the play. So let's watch it. And then we'll talk about it a little bit. He's a very good blocker in space. We'll talk a little bit more about him in line. You do not want him in line very much right now. Early into his career, he needs to add some weight. He needs to add some technical aspects to his game to block in line. Now, let's say he's on the back side of an outside zone and he just has to cut across somebody's face to keep them off the play side. Fine. But if he's going to be on the front side of plays, he cannot block in line at this point. But in this way, this is where you want to use him, as an H-back, as a fullback, blocking in space, again, getting out in space, coming into his block with balance. He does a very good job of balancing himself and not overrunning blocks, doing a good job taking an inside out angle, just anticipating where his running back, the ball carrier, is going to be, attaches himself to the DB, exactly what he is, a safety corner who really cares, but right hand inside. And then a lot of his pancakes come with effort. They're not he doesn't pop guys and they fall over immediately. He tends to drive his feet and then kind of torque guys. And I'll talk a little bit more about the nerdy stuff at the end right here, where he kind of uses what's called a wrench technique. So again, attaches himself to the defender here. And then that wrench technique is, to make it simpler, basically what you're going to do to torque a guy, to stand him up, to throw him to the turf, in this instance for Sadiq, if you put your right hand on the small of his back and you kind of push that inwards, and then your left hand is going to be to the top of his chest, and you kind of just straighten his back out, and obviously you're going to lean into it, and that's what's called the wrench technique. So he wrenches him at the end here and torques that defender to the ground for the pancake in space. So this is how I want him used as a blocker. This is how he was good at Oregon. Again, more inline stuff gets a little bit more sketchy with Sadiq, which we'll take a look at. I only have I have two more of the strength plays, 3 or 4 weaknesses, and then we can move on from Sadiq. Again, you can't find him. I can't help you. This is one of the bigger highlights of his season, this catch on the sideline. Oregon ran a ton of slant wheels, post wheels, pump to the flat, and then a wheel behind it type deals. So they did these type of concepts a lot, where the quarterback is probably reading slant to a wheel right here. Dante Moore actually puts the ball behind him, and it's not in a good spot. You'd prefer, obviously, if he can anticipate it, that he could get this ball vertical, and maybe Sadiq at this point is running in for a touchdown instead of it being to his back shoulder. But Sadiq, showing off some of the athleticism, the ability to track that ball, catch it, get both feet in bounds. And then at the very last second here, he contorts his body. Why? Because we don't want to fall on the ball. Ideally, we can turn. He actually does kind of fall on the ball a little bit. We do want to tuck the ball and fall into one of the shoulders, so the ball doesn't hit the ground, and then we have it popping out on contact. So really good job by Sadiq. Again, not much nuance there with the wheel route, but a good job of adjusting to the ball behind him. So again, something he could do at the NFL level, just because he's more athletic than a lot of tight ends. Last of the positive plays for Sadiq. Again, arrow to help people out. So you said they couldn't see. So I put some arrows on some of these reviews, and mostly these are used for Twitter. But he releases to the inside right here, and he runs an out or a corner. I forget exactly, but it's a really good route. He doesn't get the ball, but you're going to see him dice up the defender, where the defender actually falls on his face. So there's ability there to run routes with Sadiq. Go back to the first one and watch some of the criticism I have of him as a route runner. I do think he could be generally pretty raw as a route runner, but with him, again, he has such a special athletic ability that even if he could be an average route runner, I think he could be a very effective piece in the passing game, because, again, rely a little bit on that athleticism. With that being said, though, I do think people kind of overstate the athleticism in terms of not overstate his athleticism, but, oh, he's so athletic, he can get open on linebackers, or, oh, he's so big, he can get open on every safety. To me, that's the finishing piece to being a good player, a good route runner. 90% of it is technical, mental stuff. The last 10% is the physical stuff. So if you can't run routes technically, it doesn't matter how big, how fast, how strong you are. So he needs to fix a little bit of technical stuff. But this is a good one from Sadiq right here. Again, release to the inside, corner route. Again, dices up that safety, making him fall on his face. And he uses a good footwork at the top of his release right here. So obviously, takes off vertical, right? Selling drive phase. I'm hoping it's not going to lag here, but what he uses is basically, it's called a skip step. So you see left full stride to half, or to half stride from the right. And all that's doing is changing up the pacing of the route, right? Because if he wants to go, and again, a little bit more nerdy stuff, but if he goes left, full stride right, full stride left, he's going to be kind of too close to this defensive back to cut underneath of him. So he wants to change up the pacing a little bit, not eat up enough or too much ground. So he goes half stride right, nod to the inside. The DB bites on it, hips are opened. I can't tell his exact hand technique here in terms of punch. I don't know if he punches through this, swipes, chops, but he defeats this outside arm. Defender is relying on that to slingshot himself back onto the route. Again, defeats it. Now he's on his face. And I know he doesn't get the ball here, but this is the result you want in terms of getting open. So a very good route from Sadiq. So you see some of the yak, you see some of the blocking, you see some of the route running ability when he's proper. So those are the positives of Sadiq.
Did you like him more when you did the rewatch than you did initially?
Yeah, I could say, I did. I didn't love it initially for sure, but I could say on the second watch, I saw much more of the pancakes in space. So I understood the vision, how Reich can use him in space a little bit more, because I didn't see it during the first half as much. But with that being said, like, just transparency, you're talking about some of the games I watched in the second half. Again, Montana State, Oklahoma State, Rutgers type of teams, where at first I was watching Penn State, Indiana, Texas Tech, USC, so higher level of competition. But I could say I warmed up to him after the second watch. But I saw somebody talking about it in the chat before the show. Or maybe during the show. I'm not sure who it was, so I apologize. But I do agree with this person in the sense of I think Sadiq will be a little bit more of a slow burn than some people think he will be, just because, one, he's a little bit raw in general. And then minus quarterback, to me, tight end is, if not the second, at least very high up in terms of the hardest positions to transition to at the NFL level, because you're playing receiver and offensive lineman depending on the rep, right? So there's a lot to learn, and then factor in all the ways that Sadiq is going to be used. I do think he'll be closer to like 5th, 6th in terms of targets, than closer to like 2nd or 3rd. So it might be a little bit slower of a burn, and it might be 2nd, 3rd, 4th year we really start to see him heat up. If he's not producing a ton in year one, I wouldn't lose my mind. That's what I'm going to say with Sadiq. Again, it's a tough transition, but I'll talk about some of the weaknesses here too. Again, a lot of it is in space with Sadiq. Okay, so let me see here. Okay, so he's attached right here to the line, and he's just going to try to kick out number 7 right here. And you're going to see some of the lack of ability in the box to block guys. And a lot of it comes from ducking the head. A lot of it comes from the feet not following him into the block. There's some inactivity in the feet. Once you engage with the guy, you want to drive those feet. You want to work the feet. He tends to stall, lean a little bit, and he gets thrown off balance. So you're going to see him get thrown off balance here. Now, the DN does have a size advantage on him here, but nonetheless, you could see a little bit of the technical aspect lacking with him at times, where that DN gets right back into the play. And again, this is versus, I don't know if this is Rutgers or who exactly. Maybe this is like a Montana State, or I don't know who exactly this is, but not a team necessarily to write home about. But he gets into the block well here. Like if I freeze this in terms of like what we want into a block, this is pretty damn good. Like good wide base, working off of just the insteps, which is the middle of the foot, generates a lot of power. Ideally, we want the upper body matching the shin angle with the thigh going the exact opposite way. So that's very good, like technique getting into a block, left hand inside. The problem with Sadiq is, again, his feet tend to stall at times. And when your feet stall, obviously you're going to start to lean. And when you lean, you're going to be off balance, crosses his face, gets in on the tackle there. I got 3 more. Sadiq, this is a problem. I don't know if you have the stat or you remember the stat off your top of your head, Jake, but I think he had 6 to 8 drops in 2025. Let's just call it 7, kind of the median there. So like 7 drops in 2025. So he needs to fix that up. And a lot of it's like concentration, not looking the ball in, but this is another one.
I think he will, by the way, because I've heard he's an incredibly hard worker. He's only a true 1-year starter. So he's still pretty raw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. Again, and he's raw. And like I've said, he is very raw. But if you were to tell me, hey, in 3 years, Sadiq is a top 5 tight end, I don't think you'd be crazy. Like his ceiling is that high. Again, I would just in my estimation of what he's going to be, I think he's going to be a little bit more of a slow burn. So we have the pump to the flat right here, just like I talked about, and then we're going to have post wheel. Both of these defenders bite up to the pump fake right there for the screen. Sadiq is wide open right here on the wheel route, but we're going to see the drop. It's not a perfect ball from Dante Moore, but it's a pretty good ball. It's on his face. Sadiq, I can't see the catch technique right here because it's grainy and just in general are kind of far away. But a ball that you want him to catch 10 times out of 10 in space drops it. So it's something that he needs to work on is the consistency with the hands, whether it be it's kind of twofold with him in terms of the catch technique. There is times he doesn't look the ball in completely. And then there are times where his hands are a little bit wide and he tends to like clap on a ball, whereas you want more like diamond and be a little bit more tight. But this is another block in line right here where he whiffs on the D end. And this one comes from a little bit of like leaning into the block and depending on contact to hold his balance, where you want to, again, bring your base into the block. And again, he tends to lean into contact at times. So I want to see, again, a little bit more activity here from his feet. So we'll watch it here. We'll watch it, talk about it a little bit, gets beat badly. And then we have the tackle, right? So in line type of stuff, I'm not there with Sadiq yet. I do think he could obviously clean up technically if he can add maybe 5 to 10 pounds because 240 in line is pretty damn light. But here, again, leaning into the block, ducking the head a little bit, defensive end backdoors him, club, arm over. You have Sadiq who's out, not on his face, but obviously off balance. He's able to then make the tackle on the running back. So 2 plays left, I believe. Let's see. What is this one? 19. A hand use drop. Okay, so he's to the top right here in the slot. And this is one of those ones where like, hey, he gets open here because of his size and it's like some physicality, but it's not the cleanest route in the world. So let's watch him again to the very top right here in the slot. He gets jammed up a little bit. Now his physicality and stuff pushes him past the defensive back. Another contested catch-ish type of situation. It's really not even contested. And he just straight up drops the ball. So in terms of the release, not to get too far into it, but he doesn't eat up enough ground here. You want to stem towards their leverage. So he's outside leverage. You can see he's at the top of the airlines right there, and he's at the bottom. So he's holding out outside leverage for a reason. So if you just stem vertical, he's going to be comfortable to the outside, and you're running a slot fade right here. So if you want to press him a little bit, then get vertical, then get back outside. There's some other things you can do. Then kind of just he pushes vertical, doesn't really eat up a lot of ground. And then like I talked about last week, you want to be within like 2-ish yards, a yard and a half to a guy. Like you want to get on their toes, but not enough or not too much. But here he's a good like 3 yards off. He's not really overly explosive off the ball. DB just sits on it. He then goes to work to the outside. And this is where the second problem comes. His hand comes up right. Let's see if I can get the frame. His hand comes up right there to chop down the arm, but it comes late. So now the DB attaches himself to the route. And at the NFL level, this is probably game over right here, but just his size, physicality pushes him past that point. And again, goes to track the ball squirts through his hands. And again, it looks like his hands are a little bit wide here. Yeah, you see how his hands are wide and like the thumbs aren't together, the pointers aren't together, and then the ball just squirts right through his hands. We got to clean up the hands a little bit. with Sadiq. And then the last one is actually in the Pons review, which we went over last week with him. And this is one of those ones where like I would hesitate just saying, hey, just because he's bigger than a guy means he's going to open, or just because he's faster than a guy, he's going to be open. Again, emphasizing that's the last 10%. That's not all football is, because there's plenty of guys who are superiorly or really athletic or really physical, and they don't get open. So this is him versus Pons. We broke down Pons last week, so now we'll kind of look at it from the Sadiq point of view. So man coverage right there. And again, it's another instance of him just not eating up enough ground and being overly explosive off the ball. Like we have to kind of sell vertical until it's not. Like that's the receiver's kind of like in the receiver handbook. Everything's a fader, everything's vertical until it's not. And he comes off the ball pretty slow right here. And he uses it looks like a shuffle technique to the outside, but again, he's not really overly explosive off the ball, not really eating up a lot of ground. Pons is able to just sit on the route because again, he's not overly threatening. Pons and gets hands on. And at this point it's pretty much game over because he's trying to win an inside breaking route an inside breaking route versus a receiver or a DB who's kind of over the top to inside. So then just to get sketchy, he tries to use a throw by, but Pons is all over it. So, the technical aspect from as a receiver or as a route runner and as a blocker can definitely clean up with Sadiq, but that is it for the Sadiq positive and negative point of part of the review.
Him and Mason Taylor. If Frank Reich is not over the hill, excites me a lot what they could do offensively.
Yeah, I would say, and maybe I should throw up like a Mason Taylor highlight after this. I feel like he's kind of being forgotten right now in this Jets offense. For a guy who's 20 years old, he was pretty damn good as a rookie. And I know that he had some drops towards the end of the season, but Justin Fields does not help with that at all. The amount of contested catches he had to make in traffic because Justin Fields is so late with the ball was astonishing. And he's not a guy, he's like not an overly dynamic athlete, but I think he could be a legitimately very solid starting tight end. And he was very impressive as a blocker in year one. So I don't think he'll get as many design touches as Sadiq potentially in this offense, but I think he'll get more targets just because he'll be in the game more and he'll be more of a check down option. So I would not forget about Mason Taylor at all. I actually was very impressed with his rookie season.
Well, all you need to know about Mason Taylor's rookie year is he caught one touchdown pass, and the guy who threw it was Breece Hall.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And again, maybe I'll pull that up after I'm done with this, if you want me to, and just look at all the contested catches he made. Like it was ridiculous. So he was really not helped at all. And again, I don't think he'll ever be a top 5 tight end, but I could see him being, somewhere like the 10 to 16 range for years to come. And again, rookie tight end, hard position to learn, 20 years old. So don't overlook him because of Sadiq.
Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Blewett is our guest. We just went through Kenyon Sadiq, the other big-time pass catcher the Jets added. My favorite move they made during draft weekend was trading back into round 1 to select Omar Cooper Jr. We're going to break down some film on him, but reminder for those of you just tuning in honor of the Knicks reaching their first NBA Finals in 27 years. We're going to raffle away a signed Walt Clyde Frazier jersey. Enter for your chance to win. The first to do it during the show today is Bill Fond. He says, go New York, go New York, go. I go back to the Bernard King, Trent Tucker, and Bill Cartwright days of the Knicks. Let's get this championship. Maybe AG could be our Tibbs. Get us to the next level. Well, you're in for 2, Mr. Bill. This is for you.
Say go New York, go New York, go! Go New York, go New York, go!
As far as Glenn being Tibbs, the problem with that is Glenn was a disaster in year 1. Tibbs came in as a proven NBA floor-raising coach and did that immediately with the Knicks. So the lessons the Jets can learn, though, from the Knicks run is that it all starts with hiring the right people. And until you do that, you can't turn around your doormat franchise. Dolan hired Leon Rose, who brought in Tom Thibodeau to be his coach, and the Knicks built this over the last 6 seasons, and here we are. So that's where it all starts. But hopefully Glenn could prove me and many wrong and turn out to be a really good head coach, because it'd be nice to be wrong about Glenn the way that myself and many Knicks fans were wrong about the Knicks moving on from Tom Thibodeau to bring in Mike Brown. So I hope that, just like, Mike Brown proved me and many wrong and proved, that he is the right coach for this team. I hope Glenn does the same thing.
Yeah, that'd be nice. The second lesson is stay the hell out of the way as well. So that's what Dolan has been doing. So yeah, if we can copy that blueprint, Jets fans definitely deserve it. I know a lot of people are saying like the Jets parade would be even bigger than the Knicks, but I don't know if I agree with that. Honestly, I think New York will be an absolute zoo just because like we kind of talked about pre-show, it's like, what, there's probably 5% of people in New York, Brooklyn, whatever, are Nets fans. So there's not one other team in the 4 major sports who has a bigger fan base than the Knicks. So I don't think the Jets parade would be as big, but it might be as crazy, if not more crazy. So I'm looking forward to whenever that comes. I have about another 50 or so years. So
yeah, I think the Knick parade would be the biggest because again, it's the city's team.
Mm-hmm.
They play at the Garden, and it's the one team that basically unites 90 to 95% of sports fans in this area. It's just a fact.
Yeah, it sucks to be on the outside right now, especially with all the fun that the Knicks are. And I like the Knicks when I was a kid too, just like in terms of some of the players. Like I used to love Marbury, and Crawford is obviously a throwback, but a really, really good player. So I don't really hate the Knicks. It's just because of the little brother syndrome, if you can even call the Nets the little brother to the Knicks, more like a far off second cousin or something like that. It's hard to root for them. But again, versus the Thunder, I'm rooting for basketball in general, which is the Knicks. So I'm hoping the Spurs win. I think they play tonight, right? Probably 8:00.
They play tonight at 8:30 out west.
8:30.
Yeah, game 5.
Yeah. Go Wembanyama. That's my rooting guide for tonight.
Wemby, ladies and gentlemen, Joe Blewett is here. Shout out to everyone who has tuned into our show. Doc Jet fan says, I'd bet Mason Taylor catches 4 more passes than Sadiq. Slow burn's a great analogy.
Yeah. I think Mason Taylor, for me, just because there's a lot of versatility and there's a lot of different ways to use these guys. I think Mason Taylor, and again, people are going to think this is crazy. I don't know why people hate him as much as they do, but I think he's probably going to be third in targets, third if not fourth. I think it's probably going to be Garrett Wilson. It's going to be Breece Hall just out of the backfield, screens, all that type of stuff. I would say Mason Taylor / Omar Cooper for third and fourth. And then I think it is AD Mitchell and Sadiq kind of competing after those guys for targets, because AD Mitchell may not get targeted a lot because he's a vertical threat. He's not, that's really where he excels. And Frank Reich doesn't use guys a ton vertically. He needs to adjust that a little bit with what AD Mitchell does. But I don't see him getting a lot of design touches like Cooper would. And then again, Sadiq, like I said, is a slow burn. He has to learn a lot. He's already raw in general. So it might take a little bit for him, but I could see him again, some end around, some design touches, some like tight end leaks, some wheels, things like that. But I don't think he's just going to walk in and take over Mason Taylor's spot.
Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. Before we get to Cooper, today's show is being brought to you by PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app. Use my link in the description. Code HMA. Take advantage of the deal where if you put in $5, you'll get $50 available instantly. Here are the numbers on Kenyon Sadiq over at PrizePicks. More or less, Joe Blewett, 3.5 receiving touchdowns, and then more or less 449.5 receiving yards. This is a tough one for me because I have no idea what I'm getting from Frank Reich. I have no idea what I'm getting from Geno Smith. I have no idea just how often Sadiq will play when Mason Taylor is there. If all goes well, I think he could exceed both these numbers, but this is a tough one for me to prognosticate. Your early feel for these numbers, courtesy of PrizePicks.
Yeah, and again, I like the ceiling. I just being 6th or 7th in targets, in my opinion, this year, maybe as high as 5th. Again, in my opinion, could obviously be wrong with how he develops and stuff. I would say under for both, just because I don't know how involved he's necessarily going to be. 450 yards is a decent season for a tight end in today's NFL, and he's kind of tight end. He's like tight end 2. Fullback 1, H-back 1, receiver 4 or 5 kind of. So he just has a lot on his plate. So I don't see the receiving yards. And in terms of the touchdowns, you need to be a pretty good route runner in the red zone to take advantage of that short space or get open in that short space. And I think people look at the red zone too much and just assume, big, jump high, okay, fade ball. But not a lot of teams just run fade balls in the red zone because it's the lowest percentage completed pass in the NFL. I'm very sure of it. So you're not just going to chuck up fade balls to Sadiq in the red zone. Now, if hey, there's a linebacker, an unathletic linebacker on him, fine. But I would say under for both. I could see the over. But just being, again, transparent, if I had to bet my house on it, I'm going to go under on both of those.
Yeah, I think I would lean under as well because it's just tough to know. Again, it's just tough to fully project. But I hope he exceeds those numbers. I think you'd feel really good about that.
Yeah. I want to get 10 touchdowns and 800 yards. Ideally, it's just tight end is for most people, it takes a few years to really develop. And again, with all he's asked to do or going to be asked to do, it's going to be tough. It's not going to be an easy transition.
Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. You want to see a funny photo that someone just sent me? So I was shout out to American Whiskey. I was there yesterday watching the Knicks go to the finals. They had a photographer there at their watch party. Someone just sent me this. It looks like I'm about to drop a deuce as I'm watching the Knicks.
Yeah, man. Again, I don't know when the last time I've just been excited. This is at what bar? What bar did you say it was?
American Whiskey, Steps from the Garden, 31st and 8th.
Yeah, when you were talking to me before about like interviewing people after, I actually thought you had the dedication to go to Cleveland, which I'm sure in terms of the price difference, like how much is a ticket right now in the Garden going for? I don't know about the Eastern Conference Finals, but like what is a finals ticket going to be costing you?
To get into the building, you're talking at least $4,000.
Jesus,
what would just get
Super Bowl tickets cost? What would they cost?
I mean, if the Knicks play a Game 6 with a chance to go to the for a chance to win the championship, I think that will be the most expensive sporting ticket on record ever.
Yeah. Now pivot off the Knicks. If the Jets ever did make the Super Bowl, do you go to the Super Bowl or can you not go to the Super Bowl?
I feel like I'd have to go. I don't know. I can't picture not being there. Or if anything, I'll go for the week doing the show from there, and then if I want to watch it with my family, watch it with my dad, brother, fly home, maybe like the day before as I've done, and just watch the game and then be able to go live afterwards. But I don't know. I can't imagine not being there, right? Like, it's crazy.
My problem is like the environment, like it seems a little bit more like Suits there a little bit. And then like my problem is if the Jets were to lose and then like you're drinking a little bit and like, one guy says the wrong thing, like, can you imagine getting like, another team's chance at walking out of the stadium after you lost the Super Bowl? So like, I feel like I'm gonna have to be like in a dark room, nobody around me, pacing. Like, I don't know if I can go to anything.
I don't know if I could be in public
round.
for it. I would never miss an AFC championship game in person because like getting there would mean so much. The Super Bowl is tricky though. And in my experience, because I've been to a lot of Super Bowl weeks, I've only been to the game once. And once was enough. You could offer me free tickets to the Super Bowl. I won't go unless the Jets are in it. I was at the Patriots-Rams one in Atlanta in 2019. Awful game. New England won. Namath hands them the trophy. Just brutal. So I'm good on that. Like the only way, like I you could go in for the week, and there's so many people that just show up, enjoy all the Super Bowl festivities, hang out with all the fans, and make the trip, and then find like a bar somewhere to actually watch the game, but they're in the city where the game is. I'd imagine there'd be Jet fans that would do that too.
Yeah. I don't know if I can handle it. Again, I might just need to pace around in a dark room, nobody around me, maybe like a friend or two, but that's a lot to handle. The halftime show, how long does that take? Am I going to stand up and somebody's going to ask me to sit down? Because I can't handle that in Jet Stadium. I can't imagine during the Super Bowl, it's 3rd and 5, and there's some guy poking me in the back. Hey, I can't see. I don't know. I don't know if I can handle it. So I might just have to keep myself home.
Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line again. Walt Clyde Frazier jersey is what we are giving away at the end of this very show. So make sure you enter Cisco. I shouted you out in the chat, but I got Cisco's Venmo, Jake-Asman. If you want to Venmo your entry in or gift a membership or super chats that qualify. The Doc Jet fan says, don't you just love the tight end room? Agreed, Sadiq is very raw, but the stick moving ability of Taylor and the field stretching of Sadiq have great potential. I mean, it's the most excited I've been about a Jet tight end room in, I don't know, years. Like, when was the last time we actually had two legitimate tight ends who can make plays?
You weren't excited about Ryan Griffin and Kellen Davis and who was Baby Gronk? Who was Eric Tomlinson? Those guys over the last few years haven't excited you? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, even when they were good, it was just really Keller. Like Ben Hartstock was like the other tight end I remember on those Rex teams.
Yeah. I was there when he got folded by Ray Lewis getting into the stadium. I remember actually kind of convincing myself that the stadium looked nice that night. And then you see it in the daytime, like a chick in a bar at nighttime. Then you see her in the day and it's like, yuck, this sucks, man. So yeah, it was, that was fun to be there. That was a gross game though. It was like 9-7 or whatever that was. That was, I don't know if the Jets scored a touchdown in that game actually, did they? That
was the first ever Monday night game at the new place. The Giants opened it the day before. The Jets compromise was they got the first primetime game. And oh man, that was a painful one. But what I loved about those Jet teams, they responded to adversity. You know what they did? They beat New England at home in week 2, and off we go. It started 9-2 in that year.
Was that week 2 New England that year, or
They played New England in week 2 in 2 straight years, and they won both of them. They won week 2, 09, Rex's first game at the old place against Belichick. He made the call to the season ticket holders. And then the next year, they opened Monday night home against Baltimore and then beat the Pats week 2 of that season. And then I think week 3, they played on Sunday Night Football in Miami, and they won that game that night too in a back and forth comeback affair, if my memory is correct.
Yeah, I forgot about the week 2 New England, that one. But week 2 New England 2009 with Rex's first game at home, that was the best sporting event I've been to so far. The Aaron Rodgers first game had the potential, like it had all the feels, the intros obviously was amazing. Yeah. But it was just silent from the second quarter, like the midway through the first, all the way through like the fourth quarter almost, because everybody was looking at their phones, checking torn Achilles. Like we got back into it late, but that was a great environment to start. But overall throughout the game, I think 2009 week 2 was by far the best game I've been to in terms of atmosphere.
The Jets lost 10-9, Joe, to 10-9. The Ravens week 1. Then they beat the Pats 28-14 at home in week 2. And I was right. Sunday Night Football 31-23. They beat the Dolphins. Then they went into Buffalo. I remember LaDainian Tomlinson had a huge game in week 4 that year. They won 38-14. They beat Minnesota. That was the game where Brett Favre came back in the rain. And I think it was Dwight Lowery had the game-sealing pick 6 on Favre on Monday Night Football. That was the 2010 Jets, man. That was my favorite Jets team of my lifetime. That team was so good. So many comebacks. So fun. Mm-hmm. God, give us winning football for the love of God. I'm referencing games. These games are 15 years ago already. It's insane.
Yeah, and even like the referencing the last time I kind of felt joy with the Jets was over a decade ago. Like just the semblance of success for the Jets. It's crazy, and I always said it's like we always kind of shit on like Pats fans for how cocky and stuff they are, but Jets will go from like 0-7 to 3-7. We'll start talking shit online. So we are going to be brutal to other fan bases when the Jets actually do win. But again, we deserve to just bask in it when it does happen, because it's been tough.
Oh, we're giving people the business when it's time.
Oh yeah.
I don't know when that time will be, but it's coming, Joe Blewett. It's coming.
I got 50 years again, so I'm hoping for the older fans it's not 50 years, but yeah, hopefully within the next like 5.
Unreal. Hit the like button if you're just joining us. We're going to get to the Omar Cooper film breakdown, do some calls at the end. Real quick, let's squeeze in the super chat from the big fella. He says, I'm intrigued by Malachi Moore this year. Does he make a jump? He's had a lot of tackles. Does he pair well with Minka at his Belton fit? Interesting.
Yeah, we're going to get into, I figured we have 13 more weeks before the season. So I sent Jake like a list of the 13 things we're going to do. And there's a Malachi Moore Belton versus Belton show coming eventually. So I know that people get really excited for that. No, I'm kidding. But I know the niche people will get excited for stuff like that. But yeah, I have a review coming on both of those guys individually. We'll do them on the show. To me, Belton is the better player right now. I think Malachi Moore, you want him more so in the box, just the same as Belton. So I'm hoping that the Jets play Minka high, and then you have Moore and Belton fighting for strong safety, like box responsibility type stuff. Because one, I think Minka's, I think he's more versatile than all those guys. So I like to see him play high, and I think he's better high. Whereas if he plays low, then Cisco probably plays high, and you don't want that. Malachi Moore, he had a lot of tackles. We'll go over that review. I'm a little bit lower on Malachi Moore than some other people based on his rookie year. He had a lot of just mental errors and missed tackles last year. So he struggled quite a bit in his rookie year, unfortunately.
Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. PBM in the house. He says, LFG Nick.
Yes! Let's go next! This our year, baby! Win the chip!
Yeah. King
I think he's crying behind those glasses. No offense to Hey, listen, I never felt that joy. Yeah, he was tearing up.
He was. Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's amazing. Yeah, I have not felt that. So
I love you, King Lowski. You're the man. A diehard Nick fan in every sense of the word. All right, let's get to Omar Cooper Jr. here. And when you were going through his film, Joe Blewett, you feeling better about him than you did prior to the selection? I know you liked him from the beginning, I'm pretty sure. I don't know how high you were on him in hindsight. I forget, but I know you liked him.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he was my receiver 5, and he went receiver 5. I did have KC Concepcion over him, which seemingly towards the end was like a crazy take. And I said, like, I don't know where all the Cooper hype came from in terms of him going from like a second round guy skyrocketing to like, oh, he's a lock to go in the top half of the first, or some of the hype. So he was receiver 5 to me. He went as receiver 5. So I liked him. And again, it kind of saved the first round for me because I really wanted a pass catcher, but I didn't think Sadiq was enough. So in my distorted world, which is like, hey, Cooper was a 16th pick. You traded up for Sadiq, and I think that's a fine first round. But getting both of these guys for the passing offense is great. And I like them. I would say I like them more after watching more. And that's not just because, Jets bias, because I feel the same way about Bailey after watching more film of him. I feel the same as I did, 2 months prior to him being drafted. But I would say Sadiq stock up, Cooper stock up. So I like him. Obviously, he has, not the best size in the world. He's 6 foot, 200 pounds, 22 years old. Has some good deep speed, 4.42. 40 time. He's a guy who wins vertically and then with yak. In terms of like winning consistently with releases and winning intermediate, I think he needs some work. But I think at first he's going to be a vertical guy and a guy who, again, yak end around screens, etc. But he does have the ability to route run. It's just a little bit inconsistent at times. And again, that's more so featured in the first review I did of him. If you guys want to go back and watch that, this one's going to be a little bit more with some of the questions I have about his deep contested catch ability, which is, I think it's a plus, but there's some questions I have in terms of the how it translates to the NFL level, just about how he goes about catching said ball. So I only have 8 plays, so I'll run through them pretty quickly because I know we're already like an hour deep. But to the top right here, they actually run the ball here, but I don't really care. It's just about the release. So what I call this is just stealing a release, right? So you're just going to try to release in a certain way, kind of see how the corner reacts. And then maybe when the ball is past the next rep or, the next drive or whatever it is, you kind of know what you want to do. So he air quote steals a release. So he's really releasing here. It's for no reason other than to see if he can kind of dice up this corner, which he does. I'll play it and you're going to see the corner get destroyed here. And he would have rocked him on a slant if this was actually a pass. So he would kill him here if this was a slant. Obviously he stops because the ball is ran, but he does a really good job with his release as he just corners a little bit inside leverage, right? As a corner, opposite hash, and he's outside here, you want to force him to the outside all day, because if you let him cross your face, there's a lot of, this is an easier throw than throwing like a fade ball or an out opposite hash. So he's going to really try to keep that inside leverage. It's a good idea to have inside leverage here as the corner. And what he does off the line is he just crosses his feet. He gets even with the corner, and then you're going to see him throw a rocker step. So what he does here is gets high, right? He's just kind of making the DB feel comfortable, and then he kind of explodes. He explodes into the right step right here, and the right step, you can see how the corner's hips kind of get thrown back because he's going to match the inside break with that head nod and that stab to the inside. He goes to match, but then he uses the rocker. So that's going to be right foot to left foot, and then explode off the left. So it's basically just a step, like a fake step in the opposite direction that you're breaking as a rocker. So it's gonna be right to left here, right step, again, reacts to it, then the left. So now his weight shifts from right to left, back to right, and he falls down. You see he's completely off balance there, and his feet get crossed up, and he's sitting like Indian style in the air. It's because of the footwork and the explosiveness he used. So again, kind of lull him to sleep, crossover, use that quick rocker step, shifting the head, kills the corner. Again, doesn't get the ball, but it's not the point. The release was very good right there with that rocker step. So next play, I'll minimize this. Okay, so we are at play 34. This is a glance. I know I put slant in here, but it's actually glance because it's the 5-step. So slants are typically 3. A bullet slant is typically a 1-step release, and then the glance is going to be that 5-step. So 5-step release here, and he does a good job with one, obviously the route, and then the yak after. Like you can see both the route running prowess here, and just him like. He just feels like he's falling forever here and just continuously is driving his feet. Like he just never wants to go down, and it's very fun to watch with Cooper. So that's the better part of it. But the route is good from him here. And again, I know I'm getting a little bit linked into the terminology stuff, which is kind of the point, but he uses kind of what Sadiq used in terms of that skip step where he doesn't do a full stride with I hope the frames are going to cooperate with me here, but he goes left full stride and then right half stride. And it's the same thing I said before with Sadiq. If he were to go instead of half stride here, full stride, he's too close to the DB. DB can most likely get hands on and match the break. So he skips that step or half strides it, nods to the outside, crosses the face of the defensive back. And obviously now the chase is on, sees this defender dropping down to tackle him. He kind of flattens out a little bit to avoid him. Stiff arm at the last second there again. And then just a contact balance and a continuous foot drive from him is always very impressive. Again, 1 broken tackle, 2 broken tackle, hand on the ground, falling down, another broken tackle. Like
that's just tape, dude. He was like the lead college football and like yak.
It's very uncanny, like how he's just able to continuously drive his feet, like in bad positions. Like he's quite literally, he's falling down here as another tackler. Like this is not a good spot to take on a tackle here. Another guy, wrapping him up. He spins out of that, drives forward for more yards. Like he's definitely fun to watch with the yak. And you're hoping that Reich can really emphasize that. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. This one's clearly started like half a second late, so I apologize for that, but it doesn't really affect anything. He's in the slot to the bottom here, and this is where we're going to talk about route pacing, tempo. So when I'm throwing this stuff into like my reports, you read it, and you're like, oh, you're just making up shit. I've seen that before. Like you're just making up terminology. It's like, no, I can explain every single one of them. So he's to the bottom right here. This is where you talk about pacing and kind of playing with tempo of routes. And he does a really good job here of. As he closes ground, this DB, if you notice, it's kind of like a slowed pace as he gets on the DB's toes, which again is going to lull him to sleep. It's going to make the feet a little bit more inactive. And then as he starts to get outside, as he breaks the outside here in vertical, he throws a little bit more into gear. So now the DB is thinking, okay, he paced towards me slowly to get on my toes to then explode to the outside. But he's getting this DB to overcommit so he can then break outside. So it's a really good job with pacing. Again, slowed to fast. Again, now you see shoulders down, right? We always talk about the shoulders, selling the drive phase. Shoulders up, anticipating a break coming. Now he breaks to the outside, shoulders down, selling vertical. DB thinks he's pushing vertical. Does a good job of, I think he probably pushes off here. I can't tell, obviously, in this frame. Looks like he pushes off, breaks to the outside here. Mendoza misses him, but it's a very good route in terms of the pacing. With Cooper, in terms of the route running, I think he's better with his secondary releases, which is basically just releasing versus a guy in off coverage instead of primary releases, which is versus press. So I think secondary releases, vertical route running, he's very good. Short running, intermediate press coverage can get a little bit more inconsistent. I have 2 more negatives and then 2 more positives and 3 negatives quickly for you. This one's quick. This is just the toughness here. He's running a glance route again. Safety drops down. I think he sees him and he absorbs a massive shot here, but he's still able to bring in the ball, which is important. There's a lot of guys here who would not be able to catch this just physically wise or who are willing to be catching this ball. And again, he knows it's coming. Quick hitter, RPO, safety dropping down, takes a massive shot, but still holds on to the ball. So again, don't need to get overly nuanced with this one or anything like that, but I liked seeing the ability, okay, I'm willing over the middle to take huge shots like that. Fade touchdown. This was one I criticized Mendoza. This is a horrific throw by Mendoza. Again, I'm not the highest on him. I get where he's picked and all that stuff, but I think he may struggle at the NFL level. We will see. Again, going from the best coach to a really good team, really good situation to a really bad situation. We'll see what happens. He throws a slot fade to Cooper here. That's probably underthrown by like 15 to 20 yards, and then Cooper just breaks like 3 or 4 tackles and gets in for a touchdown. So this is where you have to just look past stats. A lot of people are just do stat-based evaluations on people, on players. And this is one where you look at it, and if you're just tracking on ESPN, it's, a 45-yard touchdown throw for Mendoza. It must be great. But look how much he has to slow up for this ball. Like, this should be a walk-in touchdown. And this ball is severely underthrown. Works back to the ball, breaks 1 tackle, trips, accelerates, stiff arm, another stiff arm. Your breaks 3 tackles to get in for a touchdown right there. Again, bad throw by Mendoza, but he makes up for it. Again, the acceleration, the contact balance, the well-timed stiff arms, hell of a job by him there. I'll get to the negatives. And these are going to be plays that I'm sure there's going to be somebody commenting like, oh, like these are plays that the result is good. And I've said this 1,000 times. I am so much more process versus results based just because of, I guess this is a word, like replicatability. If you do something with a bad process, I'm expecting it not to work a ton at the NFL level. Whereas if you do something with good process, but even if the result isn't great, I'm like, okay, he might have dropped the ball, but he caught it, he tried to catch it with proper technique or whatever it may be. So this is one where he doesn't track the ball well. It hits him in the back shoulder and squirts through. I want to watch his 2024 tape when he played outside and there was a little bit more contested catching. In 2025, I didn't see a ton. Like, I saw some of it. I saw the ability, but I wouldn't say right now, like, yeah, he's definitely a plus contested catcher. Again, in the slot right here, closes ground, good job. Uses like a hop step or a skip step right there, is open vertically. But he tracks it a little bit poorly where the ball ends up working to his back shoulder. I don't know if I can get it again, like frame by frame, if you're able to see exactly where the ball is here, but it does end up hitting him. I think that's the ball right there. It ends up hitting him in his back shoulder. So the tracking isn't the best there. And then with Cooper at times, he body catches deep balls, which again, replicatability. You want to attack the ball. You want to extend to the ball. You don't want to body catch it, right? So this is one where he body catches it. Again, ball goes back shoulder or hits him in the back shoulder here instead of obviously attacking it with your hands, squirts through there, no deep contested catch. Now, I don't want people to be like, oh, it's a hard play to make. No doubt it is. This is just me raising questions of, okay, last review, I talked about more of the route running stuff. This one I'm talking about, okay, some of the deep contested catching at least has a question mark surrounding it for me, where I'm not sure, again, how successful he will be at the NFL level, while transparently admitting that I did not watch 2024. So this is he's in the slot right here to the top, I believe. And this is one where he makes the catch. So the result is good, but the process in body catching it is what I do not love in this incidence. So does a good job, again, selling drive phase. He works, he stems towards the DB to hold him to the outside. It's not the point, gets open on the post. And he makes the catch. But again, when he makes the catch here, if the DB is better, obviously, we do not want to let the ball squirt or work through our hands, and we don't want to catch it with our chest because, like we talk about with DBs plenty, they're going to attack through your hands. So they're going to put their hand through your hands, and they're going to try to rake the ball out or rip the ball out. And when you catch it with your body, if the DB is good, his hand is probably going to be there. So then you're not to like pin it against his hand into your chest and try to like out physical him for the ball. So overall, like, yeah, positive play. But we do not want body catching on deep contested just because, yeah, it may work collegiate level, but in terms of consistency at the NFL level, I'm not sure going to be able to do it on the level he did in terms of just the stats. Last play, bottom slot. This is just I put AF release, so it's just not a great release. I don't think I think he kind of lacks not that he lacks explosion in general, but he needs to be a little bit more urgent here to sell the DB. So we're gonna see him get locked up here, I believe, on a slot fade. And again, I think he needs some work on his like primary releases against tighter coverage. And on this play, he comes off the ball with some explosion, but he's not selling the DB super heavy. And you can see the DB just squats on the route. He's not really sold inside. He's not really sold vertical. So he's not angling to the inside. He's not in a back pedal. DB just sits on the route the entire time. Again, he's like 2.5 yards off. So we want to close a little bit more ground, be a little bit more explosive towards the receiver to get on his toes. And then past that, if we are angling to the outside and he's squatting on us, we want to defeat the hands as cleanly as he can. Isn't able to defeat the hands. The DB is on the route, with no separation there. So I want to see him improve with attacking the ball, consistency with the hands, route running in general, but specifically with like the primary releases. So that is it. And then if you want, we can get into some of the Reich stuff as well.
Let's get into some of the Reich stuff. Your thoughts on how this all kind of comes together, Joe Blewett. What do we need to know about Frank Reich and your studies?
Yeah. Well, so I'll be honest. A lot of my studies is based off of what Sabo did. A little bit of my helmet almost dropped. A little bit of what Sabo did, and a little bit of what Nanya did in terms of like just looking at the numbers. Just because I think I did 60 reviews this year, which I still have to record 18 of them. So I didn't get into the offense a ton, but I know they lean like most offenses on 11 personnel. That's the base personnel in the NFL. So obviously that's going to work with all the receiving threats the Jets have. I know he was second heaviest in 12. which is important, obviously, because of Sadiq. I know looking back into his offenses, he used tight ends quite a bit, both the primary and the backup. So that's obviously a positive sign for Sadiq. And then in terms of some of the routes and stuff, I know he runs a higher amount of screens than other offenses do. So that's good. It's an extension of the run game. Take the pressure off of Geno. And in terms of yak on this offense, like obviously Breece Hall is going to be involved. He's a running back. He should be involved in the yak game, in the screen game. Sadiq is a plus yak guy. Cooper is a plus yak guy. Garrett Wilson is a plus yak guy. So those guys should all be, benefited by more screen game, and it should really help out Geno with taking some of the pressure off of him and give him many manageable situations. So that is good. A lot of rub type concepts and picks as well in his offense, which again is conducive to yak. So that's a good thing. I know he runs like a lot of like digs and stuff like that. I think Geno throws those relatively well for the most part, but that's another like kind of thing he likes to do in his offense is a lot of like intermediate in-breaking routes, but that doesn't really play necessarily well to anybody, minus maybe Garrett. I think you want to see him in that role a lot, digs, overs, things like that. I know he runs a lot of wide zone based on the articles and stuff I read in percentage wise, which is good because twofold. The offensive line is much more athletic than it is powerful, right? Like Olu more we've talked about this before, but Olu more finesse than power. Parham, same thing. Myers, same thing. Tippmann, same thing. Membu's a savage, both of them, so it doesn't matter, but that does well to the offensive line. And then also when you run more wide zone and just outside base stuff, is going to get the receivers more involved in the blocking game. And Sadiq is like a quasi receiver. So you're going to see Sadiq blocking in space. Cooper, who's a willing blocker, block in space. Tim Patrick, who's a willing blocker, block in space. Same thing for Mason Taylor. So that's good for those guys. The questions I have about him and how we'll use these guys is, like I said before, he doesn't throw a lot of vertical and post routes, which I want to see him do more because AD Mitchell is a good vertical route runner, right? And I think with AD Mitchell, some people have a little bit of like I don't know if like clouded view of, I don't know what the proper terminology is. I don't think he made the best first impression because his first game, I think he got 6 targets and he had 3 drops. And in the rest of the season, in like the next 9 games, he only had 3 drops. So a lot of people just, the first impression is the most important impression. So now he sucks, but he's actually a very good vertical route runner. And he got open quite a bit on Gonzalez. So you need to use AD Mitchell in that way. And then same thing for Cooper. Again, he's good with yak and all of that stuff. But in terms of it as like pure route runner, the vertical aspect of his game is the best aspect of his game in terms of route running. So you have to use him in that way as well. And then I know he doesn't run a lot of like motion and stuff, which you want to see. That's what works in today's NFL, right? Like getting the matchups you want, identifying coverages and stuff pre-snap, which will help out Geno. So he needs to go against his tendencies a little bit, throw deep and use motion. And then the last question is just like with Sadiq and his role is like, is he going to replace or is he and Rucker going to replace Beck? I know a lot of people don't think about Beck, but he's like the H-back fullback right now. So can Sadiq fit into that role? So that's going to be a big thing to watch out for as well. So overall, I think they're pretty good just based on like, hey, it's a yak-based offense or at least heavily is influenced by yak. So I think most of these guys fit well, specifically Sadiq and Cooper.
Sounds like we might have a real offense. And by real, I mean one that is not historically inept. A normal, maybe below average offense. Maybe average.
Yeah, we're hoping so, right? Like the problem with Reich is like he has a good resume, but when was the last good part of the resume? Like it's been quite a few years where he's really been successful, right? Like late teens with the Eagles, a little bit with the Colts, but obviously the last like run with the end of the Colts, the beginning of the Panthers wasn't great. Went to Stanford, and then same thing with Musgrave too, right? He hasn't really developed a quarterback since like, was it 2015, 2016? Derek Carr. So there's a lot of questions, but if Reich can't succeed with this offense, what are we doing? The one thing I will say about the offense just in general is, and whether it be really even on this channel or other channels or Twitter, like I've heard a lot of talk about linebacker, like that's the need. Why are people not talking about the interior of the offensive line? Like that is by far the biggest need to me. And not many people are talking about it because Myers was signed last year to be a backup, obviously got got accelerated into the starting role because of AVT going down, but he was signed to be a low-level starter to a high-end backup. That's what he played like last year. They didn't replace him. Like they, in my opinion, need an interior offensive lineman to push Myers, if not a guy to just straight up start over him. So that's a big question. But past center, you got weapons all over the place. Now, obviously, some of them aren't developed yet, but if you can't do something with this offense and at least make it watchable, what are we doing?
Yeah, I think the reason for it is probably just because they were healthy last year and we all just like, the line is good.
Yeah.
Maybe Inez Cooper could challenge for one of the depth spots. And, they had the flexibility with Tippmann, who could play center. Parham could also play center. So maybe that's kind of their thought process. Like they have guys that could kind of plug and play, move around if there's an injury to one of the guys.
Yeah, I just see names out there. And again, this is all just based on name value, right? Like I have no idea how they've been playing in recent years because I don't watch everybody's film, but like Zeitler's out there, Pochik is out there. There are some guys out there who I at least recognize the name and can they be better than Myers in my opinion? Probably yes. And Parham does have that. I'm not moving Tippmann. Tippmann's staying at right guard to me. He was better there last year. You get rid of the snap problem he had. I think he just overall with his size is a better fit at right guard, but Parham actually played some center with the Raiders, and I believe was actually drafted from Memphis to play center. So he's a guy who could play that position. So whether it be you sign a left guard or a center, just flip Parham to the other side and let that guy start. I don't trust Myers enough to be, hey, day one walking in, you're the starting center. And I get like we can have high hopes for Inez Cooper, but realistically, 6th round pick, he's not playing anytime soon, in my opinion. Jonathan Harrison is not playing anytime soon, in my opinion, or not Jonathan Harrison. Xavier Newman shouldn't be playing anytime soon. So I think Myers is the walk-in center. And to me personally, I think that's the biggest mistake of the offseason, minus maybe, kicker, some linebacker depth or whatever else.
Yeah, the Nick Folk one is the thing I continue to harp on. I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Would have just kept him. It would have been easy for me. Easy for me to say, I guess, but damn. Mm-hmm. He's Nick Folk. He's the man. But I digress. Well, Joe, your breakdown today was excellent. I really enjoyed it. Thank you for hopping on. Thanks for having to listen to me and all the Nick fans in the chat. Be happy as you sit there as a Net fan. I know it's not easy, so I respect you and appreciate you.
Yeah, no doubt. It's funny. Like I'll get people online too, and like, you can't handle the heat online of Twitter. It's like you guys have no idea what I do on a daily basis. I can't handle heat on Twitter. Like, come on. So yeah, I'm used to it. All of my friends are Knicks fans because, like you said, there's like 3 Nets fans in the world that I know. So when their time comes, I'll be one of the 20 people at the parade. But I'll be pounding my chest about it. I'm so mad I was brought in by the 2000s Nets and then went from trading Richard Jefferson for Yi Jing Long and Bobby Simmons to, getting Devin Harris, 12 and 70 and all that stuff. So yeah, it's been really bad. But good luck to the Knicks, even though kind of not good luck to the Knicks. I just hope that you and the Asmaniacs are happy. But I know that comes with the Knicks winning. So it'll be an interesting series, but overall, go Spurs.
Joe, thanks for coming on and for being our most recent guest named Joe that didn't bring up anything about this.
I only worry about one person's penis, and that's mine. So everybody else's, I don't really care.
On that note, see you later, Jake.
Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Blewett.
Great point, Jake. You hit it right there.
By the way, Jets Collective, episode 11, live on Friday this week. Friday at 2:30 Eastern. Because the Jets have OTAs open for the media on Thursday. So we'll do a full recap with Samini, who will be there this Friday. So get ready for that. It's going to be great. Hit the like button, comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. Gustbuster Umbrella hotline link is pinned in the chat right now. Call in if you want in on the conversation. We opened the show talking about Brendan Sorsby, his appeal for reinstatement to the NCAA denied. So we'll see if he officially declares now for the NFL's supplemental draft. And obviously the Jets, you would think, are going to be, if they haven't already, doing a lot of homework into the guy. Hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Reminder, the show's always available in audio form wherever you get your podcast. Apple or Spotify is the place to be for all of that as we post every single hour of the YouTube show live on either Apple and or Spotify. Hit the like button if you haven't. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a very quick break. And on the other side, your calls. Get ready. It's going down right after this.
Hey, Jake, how are you? I'm at one of my favorite cafes called Liberty Bagel.
Do you think the guy in the blue knows he's on one of the biggest shows on YouTube right now? Ask him if he's a Jet fan.
Excuse me, sir. I'm sorry to interrupt. Are you a Jet fan? He's a soccer fan. This is Jake Asman. He is an ESPN radio show host and a YouTuber like me, but he's been doing it longer than me.
Hi, Jake. Good morning.
How's it going? You guys don't know this, but the guy in front of you there, right? Charles, explain to them as Maniac Madness and tell them that you're the #1 seed in the tournament.
He named the region after my mom's chicken soup. It's not Asman, it's Asman. She found your channel, dude. I'm so sorry about this.
Steady Eddie, I need you to tell me right now how much your sandwich and your brother's sandwich was total.
$44.18.
What the heck did you guys order? Charles, I just sent you a Venmo. Now look at this mug. Does this sandwich cure cancer? Is that why it's so much money? Thank the people behind you there for being willing to come on the show.
They left already.
Oh, I wonder why. Hey, real quick, Kyle, I got some breaking news here. This is the couple from the table. How about you pay for our food too, since you ruined our breakfast? At Dominic Ciampi, Venmo, please. This is quite the turn of events here. Ladies and gentlemen, the couple from the table is calling in. Is this real?
It's only $30, not 50.
Ours was only 30.
So Charles comes over to you. What did you think was happening?
I was very confused. He was talking a lot about his new home and stuff behind us loudly, and then he just came up at us.
The chat is very mixed whether or not I should send you guys the $30. I'm seeing some comments here saying, don't go for it, Jake. Rick says only pay them if they subscribe. Yeah, I'm going to need at least both of you to subscribe. All right. I'm leaning towards paying them the $30 here. Should I pay this couple $30 after their Charles Gorman experience at lunch?
I did not have on my bingo card that I would have my call hijacked by some random Jersey cafe couple this morning. This show never fails to surprise and delight. Yeah, I mean, I think you gotta.
You probably did him a favor because this country is totally overrun by useless carbs, but you did interrupt their breakfast. Like, I would not be as friendly.
We should pay those couple. They coin your show. That's a big thing.
I agree.
You got 2 customers now.
This looks like blue hooded sweatshirt guy, right? Everyone see this? Dave Brigga is vehemently against me paying for this couple's food.
How down bad do you have to be to beg for $30 on the internet?
Wow, they're still watching the show. The couple's still watching the show. Look at this.
That's great. That's great. So if you're sitting there at a restaurant and someone comes up and bothers you, Jake Asman in New York should pay for your lunch. This is ridiculous. What are we doing here?
I think it's the least Jake can do is give him $30.
You're not very intelligent. Why is that Jake's responsibility? Someone cut the cord to your internet. I'm not listening. No, I can't hear it.
Order.
Hey, Dixon, what's up? How are you?
I'm good. Not sitting outside a restaurant with my mug and asking for change. What's going on?
It's not an expensive-ass restaurant, and I'm not begging for money. I have a great job.
You literally typed in the chat and said,
you're doing it for free. You're the idiot.
Yeah, I mean, what are we doing?
Incredible. Yeah, your life is sitting on a show and not getting paid for it. You're free content.
Thank you, Jake.
You make him money.
That's crazy. Dixon, don't be so upsetty, spaghetti.
That's my line. Don't do that.
Sweetheart, I don't even know you, but I didn't mean to take your line. It's okay. You can take it back. Toodles.
Have a good one. Ladies and gentlemen, the couple from the table. Unbelievable. Blast from the past, baby. Unbelievable. All right. We ready for some calls? I'm ready. Carlos started off. The barber's in the house. Hello, Los.
What's up, Jake, man? One of those classic moments on the show. The couple with Charles Gorman. That's hilarious. So I was kind of against what Blewett was talking about when it came to talking about Sadiq. I know he was mentioning, like, hey, if he doesn't really produce, I'm not going to lose my, hair, whatever it was that he said. But my thing is, like, that's a pretty high pick 16. Like, he should be producing out of the gate. If he's not producing out of the gate, don't you think it was kind of a reach to kind of get him at 16?
Well, here's how I would look at it. What is not producing, right? Like, I think we feel good about Mason Taylor, and he didn't, quote unquote, produce. I got to see how it looks. I got to see, is he impactful? Is he drawing the attention of defense that's opening things up? Like, we'll have an idea. Like, he might have some games where he's quiet, but if he's explosive in some other ones and it's just more about consistency, like, all right, like, I could see the vision there. So Tight end does take time, though. I mean, we've been spoiled the last few years in the NFL with some of the rookies that have come into that position and have lit it up. It's very difficult to do. So I think I got to just get a better feel for what that actually looks like before I could form a strong opinion one way or another.
Yeah. Another thing is, I think that I think you were talking about last show, I believe it was, about players that could be fighting for a roster spot.
Yep.
I really think, and I know a lot of people probably don't agree with this, but I really feel like Rucker is one of those guys, man, with these additions of these young tight ends. And he hasn't really produced much neither. I mean, it's been about a good 4 or 5 years now with Rucker, and we're not seeing really I mean, he has some kind of stride, but I mean, it hasn't really produced on the field. Great story, Jersey kid, local, father was a Jets fan and all that stuff. Grew up a Jet fan, so I think that's super awesome. But at the end of the day, I think I like Mason Taylor. I think honestly, from what I've seen before the injury, I think that he has a lot of potential. Okay, so I'm getting corrected in the chat. Rucker was re-signed. Gotcha. Okay.
I was going to say to you, he's not going anywhere.
Perfect.
He might not play a lot. He might be in blocking situations, or his reps could decrease as the year goes on. But
yeah,
Jeremy Rucker, the pride of Long Island, is not going anywhere, Los.
Yeah, I just hope that that we can just see a decent offense, man. I mean, it's just been so long since we've been able to see a Jets offense, competent enough to actually get out there and at least make us excited about watching a game. I don't know how many times, we watch these Jets games and it's just so miserable to watch, man. It sucks, man. Like, I think you guys talk about it a lot, like here it is, come October and we're already like it's over. It's like, man, like there's just nothing, to look forward to sometimes, when it comes to rooting for the team. But yeah, so I'm just hoping that this year we can at least stay relevant, and that we can actually be excited about some games, Jake. So yeah, that was just my take. Just want to shout out all the Asmaniacs as always. And Jake, appreciate you. And by the way, I'm not a Knicks fan, but congratulations on the Knicks going to the championship. I'm not going to tell you who I root for because then you might ban me from the show.
You're a Celtics fan?
Absolutely not. No, I actually grew up a Rockets fan, so my dad was a real big Elijah.
I don't hate the Rockets. I mean, I wasn't born when they beat the Knicks in the finals, so that doesn't hurt me the same way. I did live in Houston for 6 years, so I have no ill will towards the Rockets.
Gotcha. So yeah, I don't have no hate towards the Knicks neither. So congratulations to the Knicks. Now I'm a big Yankee fan though, so Yankee fanism in my house is like religion. When you're born a Yankee and that's just what it is, you can't. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. So, but anyways, Jake, let me let you go, buddy. Everybody have a blessed day. Catch you next time.
Just leave a message. Just leave a message. Thank you.
What's up, Beast?
I'm just looking at a picture from what was it? Do you remember watching Did you ever see the Golden Girls?
Why don't you put a light on? I can't see you.
Oh, please, come on! You can do.
We'll check back in with you, Beast. Maybe if you're prepared with your light on that Gator spent $1 bazillion on. Ladies and gentlemen, Tristan Oliver is up next. Hey, Tristan.
Hey, how's it going?
Fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing all right, brother. Down 95 now. I think I was 85 last time I called in.
Wow.
I'm working on it.
What's the key? You're just
eating different variations of ground beef and carbs every day. Whatever the variation is, Greek yogurt.
Do you ever have like cravings though? Like that's the thing that kills me. Like I say screw it, I'm picking out.
I crave to live longer. That's what's getting me through it now. I feel like I get the person that called in earlier when he's talking about not having the production from Ruckert. But you have to look at his effort on the field, and that's why he's re-signed. And again, like you said, production has to look different than what we're used to. We have to see how far we could divide this ball up between all these new playmakers that we have. And I'm perfectly comfortable with the people that we've drafted. if Sadiq only has 2-3 touchdowns this year, Mason Taylor only has 1 touchdown, but Cooper and Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall get the bulk of the scores. And if we're averaging, 2-3 touchdowns a game with a better defense, that should equate to 7 wins, right? And that's what we're hoping for in order for. I know not a lot of people are hoping for Aaron Glenn to keep his job, but that's what we're hoping for to carry momentum into hopefully, a stint of actually winning around this league, right?
I need more than 7 wins.
Yeah, I mean,
that's not enough. I need at least 8 if he's coming back.
If you need 8 for him to come back, then I don't know if he's coming back.
Well, then he should.
He
should
fine.
Again. Like Robert Saleh won 7 games with Zach Wilson as his quarterback. Geno Smith's better than anything Saleh had.
And that's what I'm saying. So Geno Smith, I wasn't paying attention to him in Seattle. Like with the type of receivers that he had over there, very similar to the type of receivers that we have here now. So he should be able to perform. The one thing that I do disagree on is I do believe by the end of the year, Tittman will be our starting center and Inez Cooper will be our starting right guard. So that's all I have to say about offense today. I have more opinions about defense than anything. And hate for Frankie V from Utah. That's all I got to say.
Well, let me ask you this, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like in terms of like the offensive line, you just think Inez Cooper is going to earn a starting spot and then they'll put Pittman at center, or is there going to be an injury? Because it'd be pretty rare for a 6th-round rookie to just outright be a starter on a team without injury.
What was he graded at, though? Was he not graded like 3rd or 4th round?
He was a 3rd. Probably 5th.
That's low. I mean, I don't know. I watched him play all year. He's on my team. Like
you are a Miami guy. That's why I was just asking you.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. In my opinion, the 2 Miami, I mean, obviously not the Maui Noah is the brother of the linebacker that we have on our team. They're probably roommates now kicking it. So other than him, he's our best offensive lineman. Markel Bell just got drafted higher because he's bigger. I personally believe that he was the biggest part of our run into the playoffs last year. Just his tenacity and everything that he brings to the offensive line. He's the mood setter. Everybody else is pretty like calm. And I feel like once he gets into camp, he will earn a spot on that offensive line. It's not that interior of our offensive line is not set, in my opinion. It's not like the most rock solid core. It's sustainable. So I feel like anybody's job should be up for grabs.
Tristan,
interior.
You're not wrong. Good stuff. It's possible. Wouldn't count on it, but it's possible. Hey, we are an hour and a half in, and no one's become a new channel member. I'm changing that right now. Someone's about to get a gifted membership, and if you get one from me, you're in the raffle for the Walt Clyde Frazier signed jersey that I'm giving away coming up in just a bit at the end of this very show. One membership from yours truly has officially been gifted. Let's go, Knicks. Let's go, Knicks.
The Jet fans getting a little crazy.
The membership went to listener Jay Canigo. Jay Canigo, you are in the Asmaniac raffle for 1. Appreciate you. Black Gypsy in the house. Mr. Gypsy gifting a membership. He is now in for 1.
Hey, go New York, go New York, go! Go New York, go New York, go!
Gypsy's membership went to listener Mac Jets for Life. Appreciate you, Black Gypsy. More of your calls. Ladies and gentlemen, is he ready to go this time around? We find out all together.
There you go. A little safe. And how we doing? How you doing? Does anybody got a call card or leave a message? And remember, you want to sponsor somebody,
just leave a message. Just leave a message. Thank you.
Sponsor, there we go.
What's up, Beast?
Come on. Hurry, boy. Gonna hurt you.
What's up, buddy?
Get pass away. I'm a little
I
sore
can't
right
hear you.
now.
I can't hear you.
Restart.
Can you hear me?
I think you got Asman must be up with your computer.
No, my sound is clean shot.
Nah, I think it's you this time, dude.
To the moment tackle.
Did you restart?
Oh my god.
No, I think it's you, bro.
Can you hear me?
Good day. Thank you.
Jets. Let's go.
Can you hear me, Brian?
Hey,
Can
Jake.
you hear me?
I can't hear. That's so messed
you hear
up every
me?
time I call. Anyways, I'm just gonna give my point on your answer, and I'll go off and I'll hear your response. But how confident are you with the defense? Because I'm so worried about these the linebackers, man. We've been getting killed with those crossing routes since like Buster Screen was on the team, and with all those penalties, and we had that other kid from Ohio State. He had pretty good speed, and we were getting killed on the linebacker position. So that just worries me a lot because, Glenn isn't really a linebacker coach. He's more like
God.
The backs coach and stuff like that. So I don't know who really is going to help out in that department. I'm very worried about that since we haven't ever really been able to have that under control in a long time, since even before Todd Bowles. I think actually since Todd Bowles. We've been getting crushed in that area. So what do you think about that, Jake?
Good call, Brian. Look, I think it's hard to be a worse defense than they were last year. Against play action in particular is the worst I've ever seen in my lifetime rooting for the Jets. I think Glenn's better than Wilkes. I got some questions about our linebackers. I got some questions about the safety room in general. Like, I think Minka helps, but I don't think Malachi Moore is necessarily like a long-term answer at starter in that spot. We'll see if the defense reaches its absolute potential that includes David Bailey being a real impact player as a rookie. They could go from probably 31st in defense to top 15. It's not crazy. The head coach said play calling is a superpower, though, so we really need to see that. Otherwise, I don't see how they're going to get that much better. I don't. More of your calls right now.
So, Jake.
Hello, Kyle.
So, I'm hearing a lot of comments that, Sadiq is so raw and, what if he doesn't have an impact right away? It was kind of a surprise that he was there at 16. There was rumors that the Chiefs were interested in that early. I wasn't buying that, but the Rams could have very easily taken him if they weren't in the Simpson business. The guy with those kind of tools, that's about where he's going to come off. We even saw that in past years with the other tight ends that were deemed to be difference makers. They came off right around 11 or 12 or middle of the first round, right? So if you go back to Dustin Keller, I think he had 48 catches his first year, and he only started 6 games. He had kind of a short career. I think it was maybe injury shorted, but he was able to make an impact right away. And it wasn't like he was coming from a football factory at Purdue. It's just a matter of like, do we have a vision for what Sadiq can do for us? And is he a good student? Is he willing to put in the work? I think that his speed and his strength, his blocking ability kind of makes him a potential difference maker. And we might be able to see that sooner rather than later. I'd be shocked if we didn't get 30 catches from him right out of the box. I wanted to know what you thought about that.
Yeah, I don't think you're crazy. I mean, just do the math. Like, it's not that many catches a game if they're going to use him as much as we think. Gino does throw a lot. So if you just take like his couple years in Seattle as like the barometer, like there's targets there for him. I think a lot of us probably just aren't used to the volume of passing that we're going to experience with Gino this year. That's actually like not checkdowns or like, dink and dunks. Like Gino, he'll turn it over, but at least he'll take chances and throw downfield. There'll be games that'll be really entertaining.
And I can just imagine the chat saying 30 catches. Well, not that I can see the chat right now, but that's like that's the floor. I expect more from Sadiq, to be clear. Like, I think he can be someone who, can be a difference maker for us, whether it's catching the ball as a decoy in the run game with his blocking on the move. I'm excited about Sadiq. As far as the Knicks go, I think another reason, and you touched on the revenge against the Spurs in the earlier show. I think that with Cat and his skill set, like the ability to draw Wemby away from the rim is probably pretty important. I think they're a pretty good matchup for us. From what I've seen, and admittedly it's a little limited, the more Cornet plays at 30, he kind of gets exposed. So I kind of think we're a good matchup for the Spurs. Whereas, OKC is the defending champ, and they're a little bit more seasoned. I do want to get that young team, and I wanted to take our swings at them, see if we can be a little physical with them, and see if we can get in their heads a little bit.
Well said.
I appreciate your time, Jake.
Kyle, great call. Because my thing is this. I think Wembanyama's on his way to being the best player in the league if he's not already there. If you're going to get him, you want to get him now. The great ones don't just win right away. Again, Wembanyama's in his third year. His second year was cut short with an injury. They would have been a playoff team if he was healthy. This year, it's their first go at it. They're just going to get to the finals and then win. I think the Knicks have a better chance of knocking off the Spurs than they do the Thunder. I think they could beat either. I do, the way they're playing. But the Thunder are the defending champs. They have that championship pedigree. I'd rather try and punch the Spurs in the mouth with the inexperience. Right, like Mike Brown's coached in the NBA Finals before. He's been on championship teams. The Knicks just have a lot more playoff experience than the Spurs do. The Spurs are the youngest team that's ever made a conference finals if you just look at their age. So give me the Spurs, and I'm not saying that's easy. It's not. Wembanyama is amazing. Dylan Harper's great. Castle, Vassell, they're an awesome team. San Antonio's a tough place to play. But I just think the better matchup for me is the San Antonio Spurs. But again, the Knicks can beat either of those teams the way they're playing. This is historic stuff for watching. NY in Atlanta is in the Asmaniac raffle for one.
Go New York, go New York, go! Go New York, go New York, go!
Ladies and gentlemen, last call to enter the Walt Clyde Frazier jersey that we are raffling away at the end of the show. Our closer is on the line. Ladies and gentlemen, we say hello right now to this man.
Hello, I'm Mikey. I'm Bobby's little bro. Have you seen Jake Graves? She's so beautiful. I love my boy Jake, but not in a gay way. I am so happy. I'm not going to touch anything, I promise. Jake, I didn't touch anything. Jake, I was so happy the Knicks won. I picked the score. I can't believe I picked the score, my friend. I picked the score 130 to 93. I told my friend. I didn't never picked anything like that. They won 130 to 93. I was partying like 1999.
Yeah, baby. Go Knicks.
And you guys went to the Madison Square Garden. You went to Madison Square Garden to watch the game?
Did I go to the Garden to watch the game last night?
Yeah.
I went to a bar near the Garden to watch the game, and I was right near
the Garden. You brought the other guy we know, the Knicks fan.
I was with all the Knicks fans. Yeah, this was the craziness outside MSG last night, Mikey.
Yeah. What does it look like?
Craziness.
Yeah.
Knicks fans go crazy.
Yeah, and then, I was thinking?
Yeah.
My doctor, Dr. Scott knows his one to school with Dr. Burson. His one went to school with Burson and the two other guys. the other two guys from Villanova. I know
Brunson,
both of them.
Hart, Bridges.
Yeah, and then you know who's gonna be the MVP in the finals? Cause they talk together. Burton talked to Towns. I think they're gonna feed Towns the ball all the time. Cause he's a machine. He's starting to be a machine like Patrick Ewing. Remember Patrick Ewing?
Yeah.
My homeboy. And then that Phaedra, I always have that. I hope I get that shirt with the towel. I go wave it.
I'm going to send you a shirt, Mikey. All right? I'm going to send you a shirt and a playoff towel.
And then I think the Spurs going to play the Knicks. And when the last time the Yankees won? 1999?
Last time the Yankees won?
Yeah.
2009.
Did they win 1999 too?
They did. Yeah, they won 96, 98, 99, 2000.
Yeah, because the Knicks won 99 too, like party 90. And the Jets go be they won the Super Bowl in 1969, right?
1969, the Jets won the Super Bowl.
4 years after the Knicks won the championship. Super Bowl, you know that quarterback we have for Clemson? What was I think it's gonna be so good. It's gonna kick ass in all America. The whole America will watch this kid. He's gonna be better than Tom Brady. He's gonna break Tom Brady's record.
Cade Klubnik will be better than Tom Brady. Mikey, from your lips to God's ears.
Yeah, I guaranteed. And then I don't want Peyton Manning's son to go over the stupid Jets because he's stupid.
We don't even need him. We got Cade Klubnik, baby. Let's go, Mikey.
Yeah, and
Let's go Knicks. This our year, baby. Win the chip.
Let's go, Mikey. Great call. Cade Klubnik, better than Brady. You heard it here first. Jeffrey Serena in the Asmaniac raffle. Let's go. Also received a Venmo from Yo Holmes. 4 entries for the Yo Man.
No, thank you.
Jets. Let's go.
Holmes, thank you very much. I will have you accounted for in the upcoming raffle. I am finalizing all the names. We have to pick a winner. Someone will win a Walt Clyde Frazier jersey. Ladies and gentlemen, let's bring on the master of raffle ceremony to help us determine who's going to win said jersey.
What do you need? You know I'm not in a good mood today. I already took a diarrhea dump, and my back's killing me. Does anybody else need anything? It's the American Dream. It's Dusty Rhodes. We coming live in Little Cutter. Girls, bring me that wheel. We're gonna get a winner today, and if not my bar and the couple ain't gonna get your funky like a monkey. We sure gonna funky like a monkey. Nah, we gonna spin this wheel, and we gonna kick some cowboy ass. Yeah! And go Knicks. Come on, we gotta spin that wheel. 3, 2, 1. Let it rip.
It's time to announce the winners of the weekly Asmaniac raffle. Let's spin the Jake Asman Show Wheel of Champions and find out which Asmaniac is winning an epic prize.
Ah, yeah, baby. The Wheel of Champions is up on the screen. Music, please. Here we go. Hey, good luck to everyone who entered. Let me shout out Robin Boy Wonders, who sneaked in at the end here with one. Congrats to Robin, who won a Jets jersey for his nephew the other day on our show. Black Gypsy with a last-second extra entry into the wheel for a signed Clyde Frazier jersey. Mr. Gypsy, thank you. There's a Ted 20-month super chat that just says, F it. But Ted, there's no raffle attached to it. Do you mean to get the membership? Either way, Ted, I don't know what this means, but thank you for watching the show as always. Ladies and gentlemen, who's going to win a Walt Clyde Frazier jersey? If you win, you got to email me, asmanjake@gmail.com, to claim your prize. Good luck to all. Let's go, Knicks. The winner is... Snowball. How about that? The pride of Long Island has done it.
Yes! Yes! Let's go Knicks! This our year, baby! Win the chip!
Jets worldwide, wide. It's Snowball winning the prize. Congrats to him. Let's go.
Go New York, go New York, go! Go New York, go New York, go!
Fun show. Thank you to Joe Blewett for joining me. Thank you to Sabo for joining me. You guys are the absolute greatest. I love all of you. We're back at it tomorrow. Omari Brown set to join me on a Hump Day Wednesday. JETS. Jets. And let's go Knicks, baby. See you guys tomorrow. Enjoy your Tuesday evening.
Great point, Jake. You hit it right there.
Oh, hi. Jake wants me to ask you to click on the like button.
That's right, Lane. And if they don't subscribe to the Jake Asman Show, this team may never win another game. Let's go Jets.